The relationship between the Toronto Police Service and Toronto's LGBT community is at its worst since I joined in the protests in the streets out here against the bathhouse raids back in 1981. Nothing short of a full public inquiry is going to put us back on the necessary path to reconciliation with the Toronto Police Service.
Harsh words from the 519 demanding that Ontario's Attorney General launch a public inquiry into the case of missing men and police handling of those cases. Now, 6 of those missing men allegedly died at the hands of Bruce McArthur. And this all comes on the same day that Mayor John Tory asked the Toronto Police Services Board to launch a working group to examine an external review of how police handle the cases of missing persons.
Should the province start its own inquiry?
Well, I think this is, again, an issue that needs to be addressed by the Toronto Police Services Board. That's why I'm encouraged by the motion that Mayor Tory is bringing forward to look at what issues that needs to be explored and to look at in what manner and independent external review needs to be done. So I think it's important that that we let the Toronto Police Services Board do its work.
Echoing statements he's said in the past, Bette Elliott, who's worked on the Elliott Lake Collapse Mall inquiry and the Creever-tainted blood inquiry, says investigations and inquiries can happen in conjunction with one another.
In both of those inquiries, criminal investigations proceeded in parallel to criminal investigations. Criminal investigations running parallel with public inquiries.
An inquiry can have a wide scope in terms of reference, going into details about the investigation and steps that were and weren't taken. It could address long-standing questions like why McArthur wasn't apprehended when originally questioned in 2016. Did police miss connections between the victims? And did bias towards the LGBTQ community impact the investigation?
As recently as last December, we were being told by Chief Saunders that our long-standing concerns about a serial killer preying on our community were not based on any evidence. He was wrong. He had a legal duty to warn us, and instead, he reassured us. It now seems that there was plenty of evidence, but somehow the Toronto police struggled to put 2 and 2 together. We want to know what went wrong. We deserve to know what went wrong.
I can't comment on the evidence per se, and those things will come out, and I really do look forward for that opportunity because I feel handcuffed with things that are allowed to be said by the organization and things that aren't allowed. There is a responsibility to protect the investigation from any impact or indirect impact, and so that there is a fair trial. With this external review, it's an opportunity to have conversations now, and I think that that's very important, that we don't wait for a very long period, and if there are opportunities in which we can be better as an organization, if we can enhance relationships, then we should definitely be focused on doing just that, which is, I think, what the spirit of this external review is going to look like.
Now, today, the Police Services Board did, in fact, vote in favor of creating this working group to examine creating an external review and the parameters that it would actually review. That group is expected to return to the board sometime in June.